JAMB exam is not a qualification exam.
No, and it's not a certificated exam. Okay. They don't give certificates. So you just do it, you know. But, you know, where I will agree with my brother, Depo, is the money they are collecting is too much. And that is the problem. The Nigerianism in this decision is my issue.
Nigerianism?
In this decision of, you know, allowing schools to choose their cutoff mark, you are going to build more terrors. You are going to build more emperors. School will take any decision. JAMB can only back. They cannot bite. Because it is paddy government. The former registrar, the present registrar, was a former VC. So he would do things to favor the VCs. I was on this morning yesterday with the spokesperson. You know, and if you he told Nigerian that JAMB is demand and supply. That means it's business. Now, in this case now, do you know that you can change from one school to the other like 10 or 20 times unlimited, as long as you can pay the money, I think about 1.5 or 2.5, right, per change. And this will give room for students to be changing more so that JAMB can declare more profit. Is JAMB a profit-making body? And that is what we are saying. Why don't you collect money for change maybe once and you can change endlessly, if not for the fact that you are after that money? In the first place, this year's JAMB is not supposed to come up at all.
Why is that?
If at all it will come up, it's supposed to come up for only private universities, because they were the only one that covered through online teaching during COVID. A lot of schools were not ready. They had not admitted those that sat for the last JAMB. You now forcefully introduce this JAMB just to make money. You allow students to pass through NIN, the rigors of NIN. Do you know that increase the COVID transmission? If your crew visited where they had NIN, you will know what happened. At a point, the registration process collapsed, and the registrar had to tell everybody to meet at the JAMB office, everybody in Lagos. And you need to see the crowd, you need to see what was happening there. I just refused to add my own by going there to protest as usual because of the situation of the country, you know, the NSAS thing that just happened and so on. But it's so shameful of a body called JAMB. To the last JAMB exam, this one that they want to use to enter, is the worst in the history of JAMB, whereby result of A person was given to B and so on. I had a press conference on this, where we presented the result, and because of all of this, I suspect that's why they suspended this pre-cutoff mark thing. Because students, the result of this year's JAMB was very abysmal. So
was that meant to clean up the is that going to clean up the system?
No, there was no way they could have fixed the cutoff mark, like say these are cutoff mark, because a lot of people failed. And there was need for those students deliberately for JAMB to do something about it. I challenged them to bring out the result. That these students are saying, we want to challenge you, bring out our result. This is not our result. They've not really, you know, heeded to that. That the results, right, they work on it.
But why would they do that?
Why
would anyone do that?
Because there is no space. Okay, let me tell you, let me tell Nigerians now. This year's admission for UNILAG, for example, is going to be merged with last year's admission. What does that mean? It means the carrying capacity will further be reduced. There's no space for students. There had not been space, even when they use their full carrying capacity. But
instead of altering or tinkering with the results, like the picture you're painting, would it not have been better?
Me and all the students and parents.
But would it not be better to come up with a policy to say because COVID-19, if that is the reason, affected everybody, everything in the world. So the issue of, okay, there's a policy due to this and due to that, we won't be taking fresh admissions or whatever the thing is. Wouldn't that have been
that was what we were expecting. In fact, we were expecting JAMB to say, okay, all public schools probably should not take JAMB. Anybody, if you are choosing public school, please don't take JAMB this year. We are taking it because of the private universities that have already, you know, actualize their session. So if you know you are okay that you can pay for private university, take this year's JAMB, and we'll just leave it at that. But they decided to go ahead because of the annual remission of money. That is unfair.
So you think this is all about money?
No, not I think, I know so.
Whoa. Deepo, what do you say about this?
Well, I believe it is a shocking revelation, but somehow it confirms what we've suspected for a long time. That, I mean, like I said when I started off, that JAMB has now become a revenue-making organization, which for me, it is quite heartbreaking.
All right, but to be fair to JAMB, because we haven't heard from any of their official or spokesperson, we will take it that this is just opinions yet.
No, when you are going to hear from them, when you are going to hear from them, sorry, my brother,
yes.
When you are going to hear from them, please help me, speak on my behalf, challenge them, right? Put it down, that why are they collecting change of institution money as more as you change, as that why will you just give students the opportunity to change as many times
endlessly
as possible? Even if you want to give the opportunity, okay, yes, we are in democracy, why can't it be one-off payment? 1,000 naira, once you have paid, you can change as many times if it is no money. One, if it is no money, why is there difference between original results and results?
Original result and result.
Please let me ask them. Your result in JAMB, if you sit for JAMB now, you have your result, 320. When later they will now ask you, go and get original result, where you will pay. Original printout. Where you pay to JAMB. Why is there difference between result and original result? And so many other fee, apart from the JAMB fee.
Or maybe the leadership of JAMB may not be aware of some of these hidden charges. If you call them hidden charges, maybe someone somewhere is trying to...
No, hidden charges by them. They pay into their account. I'm saying this before all Nigerians and DSS can hear me. I don't mind going to their office again. They pay it into their account. Professor Ishaq Oloyede led JAMB body is extorting poor people directly.
Well, I take this as an allegation yet.
Please ask them, confirm it. Please complete this interview. Next, go to them. You are journalists. Ask them that Dr. Shodunke said this. Is it true? Then go to students, go to CBT centers. And we are saying that if genuinely, if what they are doing is for the populace, for the betterment of our education, they should stop all of this. Then I will take them seriously.
All right. Now, Deepo, when it comes to let's put the education sector on the platter now, because all of this affects or impacts the education sector. If we are looking at the ideals, because Nigeria is not an isolated country. There are perfect systems even across some African countries that we have seen. In fact, go to Rwanda, for instance.
Yes.
The Rwandan education system is becoming a role model to so many others. The private institutions are closing up because the government institutions from primary to are running so efficiently and they're so cheap that everyone goes there to get quality education and all of that. How do we handle these situations?
It is one of those things that we have seen rotten in our system over the years, and it is quite unfortunate because we have leaders that do not understand that once you damage the education of your system, you damage your future. And we see it every other day with how they fund education or defund education, how they don't pay enough attention to it. We see schools every other day that don't have chairs, some don't have roofs over their heads, and you expect proper learning to take place there. So yes, that is what we have seen so far. But unfortunately, we don't see a lot of deliberate action taken from persons in authority at various levels and paying serious attention to education, which for me it is troubling. And I keep asking the question, what is your motive exactly? Because you need to understand that we're talking about the security in the country and we're not fixing education, which is part of the preemptive ways to solve insecurity. Because you don't have an educated... We have a youth population that is so massive globally, well known globally. The quality of education they're getting is quite poor. That is for those who can't even get the education in the first place. And we expect that the level of crime will go down. How do you expect that to happen? Certain things just don't fall just don't fall in place. So we need to understand that we're talking about insecurity, we're talking about the economy, because we also have that vibrant population. Once they are properly educated, even if you get to finish at secondary school, but you get quality education, you can go into some training school and all of that. Understanding the fact that you have a productive youth population that can go into the marketplace and generate enough revenue to pay tax into the government coffers and then boost the economy. But we're not looking at it from that perspective, because when we're talking about education, it affects everything holistically. The economy, the issues of security, and every other thing. We have people who are better educated, who will then go into public office to make better decisions that will build a better future for this nation. So education is literally the bedrock of every single thing. And it serves as one of the solutions to the majority of the challenges that we have in the nation today. But unfortunately, we see it being pushed to the back burner, or it's not even on the stove altogether. It's not a priority for the people in government today. And we keep asking, what is your plan? Because you need to understand that a properly educated population is the future of any nation. Check all the nations of the world. Now, a lot of nations are having to rejig the entire educational system, the entire curriculum. I mentioned here some time ago that I watched an interview with, I believe, Minister of Education for Dubai or somewhere in the UAE, where they were asking them that where do they see their nation in the AI revolution? And then he said that they had to overhaul the entire curriculum. And the interviewer asked, what do you mean? And said that we've had to overhaul our entire curriculum, that at every level we have introduced coding into it. So we're not saying you can't be a doctor. You can be a doctor, but you can understand what you're doing, so that in case you get bored and don't want to be a doctor any longer, you can feature in that future, so that you can have a proper direction and so that you can be relevant and play in the global space with your own global peers. But somehow we don't have that kind of visionary system in our own country today, which is something we have always asked, is something we have always questioned. Because even with this current century, not even talking about building our youth for the next 20, 50 years, even for the current system, are people equipped enough? Can we say adequately that our students, our youths, our children can compete globally with their own peers abroad? Let's not even talk about how much people pay for school fees and all of that, but the curriculum in itself, is it enriching enough? Is it building our people for a future that will make them relevant, so that they don't start looking like what is going on here when they're in the global scene?
Okay. Now, Dr. recall that about a few years ago, it was the leadership of Professor Oloyede at JAMB that made all Nigerians know for the first time by remitting monies from JAMB to the government. He received a lot of accolades and commendation from Nigerians at home and abroad, which made people see that, oh, so even JAMB makes this kind of amount of money, which nobody had seen, nobody had imagined, nobody had known all the while. When you see someone like that coming to the arena saying, okay, this is how much we're making, put it back into the coffers, isn't that a way of saying that we are transparent, we are open, we are honest, and we put things, everything clear and straightforward? But
if we are commending, yes, I really appreciate it.
I just want us to look at it from...
Oloyede really tried in that aspect, but what he just did was to just buttress what my association said many years before he ascended to that position of registrar.
And what was that?
You were one of those that interviewed us then. The TVC really supported us then. When we came out to say that Professor Dibo Ojerinde, right, was very corrupt, we were the first to come out. People even thought we're mad, that this man is taking so much. We came out, we protested, we presented some handbills that carries his radio station or this school there. He denied then. So what Professor Oloyede did was to build on what we had said much earlier, protested over, that there's so much money going on here, and this man is just packing it, keeping it, to his coffers. And later, when Professor Oloyede came, he worked on what we said, and now he's doing the right thing in that aspect. Kudos. We appreciated him for that. I even visited him personally to congratulate him for doing that job. Good job, well done. Right? Showing to Nigerians that there's so much money, taking this money and putting it in federal government coffers. But we are also saying that it should listen to our criticism in that aspect, that federal government does not need this mega amount being collected directly from poor people. But stealing it directly is very bad. But now, trying to take it out forcefully by introducing different other amounts in order to come out, to be able to come out and say, I put down so amount into federal government coffers. That is not its primary function. JAMB is not meant to generate fund.
Of course it's not. But
it's not created to.
Yes, but now, if any money is come at all, and he's saying government take it.
What we are saying now, it doesn't need to say government take it. It can as well say that, okay, since we are generating so much, we can reduce the JAMB fee further. Since we are generating so much, you don't need to pay for change of cost form. Since we are generating so much, we don't need to discriminate between result and original results.
So what do you see going forward? What will now change?
No, what I've been saying is this. We are not determining cutoff mark. It's just a decoy. Let them increase the carrying capacity. Let the JAMB registrar come out and say the carrying capacity of federal schools are so low. And why? Because somebody has stolen the money of TET fund. Let them probe TET fund. Let them increase the carrying capacity so that students that score 300 and above will not end up in Cotonou. And go to Cotonou. 95% of students there are from Nigeria.
We're hearing that report actually that
they are from Nigeria.
Students.
They're only ones there.
Okay.
Because they are frustrated, and the ones here that are not giving admission have taken to drugs, and we are wasting them away. And like he said, if you want to destroy a country, don't use grenade, don't use bomb. Destroy their education. The country is destroyed.
All right. Oludotun Sodunke, thank you for some of the issues you've talked about. But however, when it comes to the allegations as to what the corruption and all of those things, we have not been able to verify that yet, but we will give the opportunity to the names you have mentioned, at least to come out to make it clear to Nigerians what is going on.
Why they are charging those money.
What the issues are. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dikwa Yewale, thank you for coming as well.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Great.